Hey, what's up? It's Dr. Ganatra, and in this one, I'm gonna go over exactly with you, how do you purchase a practice? What are the 5 reports you gotta evaluate to purchase a practice? Now, full disclosure, there's more than 5 reports, but I find that these 5 reports can be tremendously helpful if you're gonna purchase an office. I just didn't want you to think, oh my God, I just gotta know these and then everything else takes care of itself. These are really important. So I'm gonna dive into the 5 most important reports you must have to purchase any practice. So let's just jump into this. And as I'm going through this, I want you to ask yourself, if you've been looking at offices and you've had a broker send you, some numbers or an office location, and you're like, God, I don't know where to start. This video is gonna help you fix that and kind of think through exactly how do you evaluate an office before you make that big move and purchase it. This is not to do with building out a scratch practice, but this is if you're going to purchase an existing office. So how do we do it? Let's just jump into this. The first thing you have to realize is that you have to be open to looking at these reports, and the reports tell a story. The numbers tell a story. So number one, the first one you want to look at is, and they're not by any sort of importance, but I like to start here, the collection by provider. Collection by provider, all right? So collection, I'm actually gonna make this so it looks a lot better because my writing is not as good as what you'll see here. Collection by provider, okay? Look at that, pretty cool, right? Collection by provider. Okay, so that's the first one. What is the collection by provider? And that probably could be a little bit bigger here for your office. You have to know, hey, this is what each provider is collecting. If you have a hygienist, this is what they collected. Notice I didn't say produced. Production and collection, 2 different things. Production is just a number, maybe your UCR fee, maybe your total fee, but collection is exactly what you got paid from the insurance company, from the patient, or whoever's paying you, that's what you got paid. So you got to look at the real numbers. Collection by provider. Next, what's next? Well, the next thing is you got to look at your collection by procedure report. Collection by procedure. So let's just write that down. Collection by See, it takes my chicken scratch and turns it into something pretty cool, right? So next one, collection by procedure. What does this mean? This means that, hey, whatever procedures they did in their office, how much did they collect based on those procedures? Why is this report important? Well, it essentially tells you, hey, if they did a lot of implants and they collected $500,000 just from implants and you don't do any implants, guess what? You're gonna buy that office and you're gonna have a major dip unless you have an implant surgeon or an implant specialist, an implant doctor come in, oral surgeon, a periodontist, someone come in to do more implants, right? So collection by procedure is really revealing to you exactly the procedures you must be doing in your practice to at least maintain the growth or at least where that office was. Collection by procedure could also mean that hygienists, if they're leaving and they're making $100,000 just through SRPs, gosh, the hygienist is leaving, you can subtract $100,000 out if you don't have a good hygienist, right? Maybe they do a lot of removable dentures and you're like, I hate doing that. Maybe you can suck that out then. But maybe you're thinking, gosh, I'm not gonna do removable. I'm gonna do more implants in my practice. So maybe there's a transition there where you can take this one treatment that they used to do that you're not gonna do, but you're gonna do another treatment that's better, more high ticket, more comprehensive. That could be a boost for your office, right? The third thing you must look at, I always like to kind of say, is the total collections for the year, okay? Total collections for the year. So why do I say total collections for the year? Well, because this gives you an idea of how they did last year and this year, at least 2 to 3 years, total collections. We'll put 2 to 3 down there, 2 to 3 years of that, okay? So this gives you a full idea of how they're doing, right? And if they don't kind of give you, full collection numbers, that's a sign of what's going on, right? That's a, suspicious sign. Every practice should be telling you how they did, how they're currently doing this year, how they did last year, how they did the year before that. Total collections. So you must know those. And this brings me to the next thing. Now, if you have the total collections, you have to kind of sync everything up. So the next report you have to know of that you got to get access to, there's no exceptions here, which is you got to get the tax returns, okay? Tax returns. And you also have to get how those play into I didn't recognize that, how those play into essentially, so tax returns, and those go into, that's not working here. Maybe that'll work. No, it's not an S. And those go right into the bank statements, okay? The bank, put that down here like this. I had to switch it up here. Bank statements, and that also circles into what we call the software, okay? The dental software. So I'm going to explain this. Okay. So basically, think about it this way. Your tax returns should also reflect and should kind of jive up to the bank statements, and the bank statements should jive up to the dental software. Anyone can say that, hey, they made all this money last year in their software. Oh, we made all this money. Ranesh, yeah, but no, it's not reflected in our bank statements. Ooh, that's an issue if it's not in the bank statements. They may say, hey, look at our bank statements. Not most of that's not in the tax return. That's an issue too. Because if you're getting a loan, the bank's going to want tax returns synced up to bank statements, right? They're going to want this right here. But you as a doctor, as a potential owner, should look at the dental software, say, hey, what did they collect in this dental software? What is it showing as? Is that also reflected in the bank statement? If they collected $100,000 last month, am I seeing about $100,000 in there? Maybe it's $95,000. That's okay. Maybe it's 90. Maybe they took some cash home. I don't know. But am I seeing some sort of correlation between the software stuff and the bank statements? Ooh, now the bank statements are jiving up to the dental software. Everything's good. Okay, let's look at the tax returns. Is that legit? And if these three areas sync up, they don't have to be perfect. Because look, some people are going to take cash out. Some people are not going to show certain collections, right? I get that. But if this syncs up, software to the bank statement to the tax returns, and you have access to those things, and it's actually very transparent, if all this is transparent, then guess what? That's a good sign. That's a sign that says, hey, the seller they want to play ball. They're being transparent. All these things are matching up. This is great. That is a must. If one of these things don't match up, you know that, A, it's going to be hard for you to get a loan on that practice. Even if you're not getting a loan and you're paying out of pocket, it's going to be a tough situation for you to kind of at least continue doing what that practice was doing, because the numbers may not be well represented, right? And then what's the fifth thing? Well, basically the fifth one comes down to now you understanding what we call the new patient report. Now, this is important because most people don't know where they're getting their new patients from. So if you know the new patient report, where are those new patients coming from, right? Where are they coming from? Are they coming from the local area? Are they coming from our local church? Are they coming from, a certain group that the doctor is involved with? Where are they coming from? And can you mimic and replicate those new patients from wherever they're coming from? Are you going to be part of the same church? Are you going to be part of the same community? Whatever that is. The new patient report, you got to know exactly how many new patients they got last month, the month before. Trail it back for the last 12 to 24 months at least. How many new patients are they getting? Oh, did they just start getting a lot of new patients just for the last 2 months? And now they want to sell the office? That's a little fishy. Have they been consistent with their new patient inflow? Which zip codes are they coming in at? What zip codes are these new patients coming in at? Are they coming in at for zip codes around your office? Are you going to be living around that office? What's that new patient report say? Are those new patients older patients? Is this a geriatric practice? Are they younger patients? What's the demographic of those patients? Are you open to and are you comfortable with treating those patients? Now, new patient report is so valuable. So when you got all this together, you got the collection by provider report right here, collection by procedure report, the total collections report right here. You know what they collected for the last 2-3 years. Every single year for 2-3 years. You got the tax return, that jives up to the bank statement, that jives up to the dental software, what it says in their Dentrix or whatever they're using. And then you got the new patient report. You got all those things syncing up together. That is a great start and a good sign of a solid practice. Now, full disclosure, there's other things you need to know. There's other reports, there's other areas to look at. But this right here at least tells you, hey, this could be a potential office. And I can tell you this, you know what I always say, if you're gonna buy a practice, make sure there's enough room for you to expand. Make sure you can at least double that practice. So if you're buying a 3-chair office and it's doing $1 million, can you take it to $2 million? It's gonna be really tough. But if you're buying a 6 or 7-chair practice and it's doing $500,000, can that go to $2-3 million? Absolutely. So think about it this way. Is there potential in this practice after evaluating all this stuff? Is there realistic room to grow based on everything you've seen? So I hope you found this one helpful. Let me know what you thought in the comments. Like this video, share it, leave me a comment, let me know what you thought. I love making these for you. As always, I will see you in the next one, and live inspired.